Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of the what's been bouncing around my head as the Sport Chronicles. I figure we're about 4 installments in, something like that about now. Yeah, we're about 4 installments in. In the last, we definitely came to an uncertain place with regards to the very inexpensive AMK silicone inserts. They certainly work, and they are certainly inexpensive. But there was an aspect to their performance that just wasn't what I was all about. So, as I had mentioned in the last one, we are going to do a free mod, relatively free. It should be free. And we are going to test, we're going to go back. We're going to roll it back. We are going to test the stock insert in the cut tire, and then we are going to test the Tim dual stage. This one is fresh off of the heat gun to make it, like, look how nice and uniform it is. When they come, they ship in like a little, they come in these little Tim bags, and 4 of them don't really fit. So they're really murdered in there. If there's not another reason to purchase yourself a heat gun, I'm standing here giving you one. These are, you can tell by the black and tan collaboration here, these are the tires from the RTR, the ones that we baked off, and we finished the harvesting of the forbidden chocolate chips. It might not be much, but it's honest work. And we make sure that we've ventilated them all. Yeah, there's our telltale hole. We're going to put the foam back in. As I mentioned in the last, we will be because we have 2 sets, the set of tires that were featured in the last, which are just another set of removed stock S1 Canyon Trails, those will be running the Tim Tins. These will be running the included insert, because it's sort of a little miniature this versus that, because I can't remember. I was kind of more impressed by how the S1s uncut and everything. It was surprising the level of performance that we got out of them. Certainly more grip than they were cut. But I was more pleased with the overall performance with the stock insert in it. That might have had something to do with weight. That might have had something to do with maybe we didn't have them cut just right. They worked, but it definitely falls into a good, better, best sort of scenario. There was just something about the maneuverability and the positionability, and I certainly think that there's an element of that was just rotating mass. So we're going to definitely remove that rotating mass. Hopefully it is fresh in my head that it was 244 grams per, which was 976. Seems to be the number that pops for the full set. And the stock were 112 per corner, which would have been 224, 448. Is that 448? Is that 488? 112, 224, 448. Yeah. So we were a good bit past double. Now we should be landing somewhere in between those 2 extremes. I think on the XL5 HV and the Titan and the 2075X, they are not up to the task with that, moving that amount of bulk. So we're going to go for some combos that are a little bit lighter weight. It feels lighter weight in my hand already. I'm going to guesstimate this guy is going to be, I'll give myself a 20 gram window. I'm going to say this is going to be between 160 and 180. We'll see where that comes out. The other set, these are the ones that were run in the last episode. As you can see there, except this one has more dust than this one. They're identical tires. I've been using these Tim dual stages, generally not the way they come out of the package. I generally eject this bit. I get 2 wraps of fridge foam. I put it on with Canyon Custom. It's more responsive. It's certainly waterproof because this is an open cell polyethylene foam. I think it's polyethylene foam. They're great. Absolutely great. We run them in a lot of vehicles around here. But for the purposes of this, I want it. This is the comparison I want. I want the included single stage insert, which honestly feels pretty good, compared against this, the most inexpensive dual stage that I'm aware of. I have put many of these in a tire, and it was on this day, TIL, that maybe it might be superior. Generally what you do is you assemble the whole insert, you put this inside the white, and then you cram the whole thing in there. And because this is so firm, it doesn't really want to be manipulated in that fashion. So for this set, what I tried was putting the white outer in, and then you go in at an angle, and make sure you don't come out the other side. You go in like that, then we do a little bit of a bend, and I'm pulling the insert and the tire. And then once we're past the beads, we just kind of give it a little roll. We get them to seat together. What we do is we double check, and what we don't want to see is a lot of the white hanging over one side or stuffed under, because if these start their working life not mated together well, it never really gets better. We give it the press, and I will say these feel pretty good as well. These feel pretty good as well. And the directional tires coming through here for the win, I was just telling myself over the whole time, you're building the passenger front. We get a nice big direction arrow. I mean, any passenger tire would work, but I find specificity is often key. So I tell myself I'm building the passenger front. We're going to set this in. Canyon trails can be a little feisty because they've been debonded. So sometimes there's a little bit of extra glue that wants to grab on to the beadlock. So what I've found is easiest method with the dual stage, with the foams, because the foam is narrower, you can see how it really squares off the profile. On one of them mounted with the dual stage, there you see the shoulder's a little bit more rounded. I mean, it's kind of cutting a different profile, really. And the dual stage, yeah, dual stage definitely more domed in the middle. We're gonna see. Remember, silver in the middle is single stage, and black in the middle is dual stage. So, I'm telling that as a kind of a reminder to myself to put it on screen. I found the easiest way to mount the dual stage is not try to ice skate uphill. So, a little bit of bubble juice right around the inner ring, which will allow us to get some shimmy on the inner bead and get these to drop in. No problem. There it goes. Ooh, that was solid. So we're staying really inexpensive. I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to tell me. In terms of total expenditure, because I operate where I operate, I feel like we don't add the total cost of both sets of inserts into the running total for the vehicle. We are going to do some stuff. Like, I still think I want to go down like 2 teeth on the pinion. So that would be another $450. But somebody else might be absolutely happy with a 14, a 15, even a 16, depending on how they drive, depending on the state. I am operating under the constraints of the radio, so I feel like there's some flexibilitarianism in the discretionary budget. If I buy a couple different pinion gears, and I didn't even, because preconceived notions are impossible to unconceive, when I ordered a pinion gear, I ordered a single pinion gear. It is over here right now because I ordered replacement spurs at the same time, just in case. Just in case. I'm gonna spend. If I'm already ordering from A-Main to get some other stuff, I'm gonna spend $3. So if I order another pinion or opt for another pinion, that's just gonna take the place. Like if it says $4.50. 14-tooth pinion, and I go to a 13 or a 12, it's going to say $4.50, then whatever the tooth count. Because if you have a single pinion gear in your life, I figure that this is that's an insufficient quantity of pinion gears. This is my drawer of 32 pitch, 3mm bore pinion gears. It's not like there's a ton of them. Anytime you see one of these black ones, these are Vanquish with the 15 embossed. These are from like Phoenix and stuff. I just don't like them. I just don't like them. I have way more 48 pitch pinions because we lived a 48 pitch lifestyle for a long time before that. Yeah. You are absolutely correct. Let's do the dance before I forget. And we have the capability and the capacity. These are the single stage, 174 grams each. I said between 160 and 180, correct? So we're pretty good on that. And 4 of them, $6.99. How is that $6.99? What's there? Is 300? Yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, these are really close. That's what we like to see. 174, 174, 174, 174. I am not mad about it. So 799 Welos. Let me see. This is a little heavier. I'm going to go full 4. 827. 827, plus or minus. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not 827. 727. I wanted to say it was going to be 28 grams heavier than this. Okay. And it's 728. I figured about 7 grams heavier than about a quarter of an ounce each. That solid inner is not particularly heavy, 181. So, yeah, 7 grams per heavier. That is not going to be impactful. What is going to be impactful is, you can see right there in the frame, they are different profiles. This is rounded and this is squared off. I feel, if there was no announcement of it, Traxxas would never make a mention of it, but I feel like the foam in this, that came on the vehicle, I feel like it's different than the one it used to come with. 117. Is that 117? I doubt myself. 117. We're out of track. 49. That's the single stage. Dual stage. Oh, wow. 122. It's basically turned it into a 4.75. 122, could be 122 and a half by, and it has slimmed it down. 122 by 48. The Tim 10 inserts inside of a Canyon Trail basically turn it into a 475. Like, how close is that going to be to a Proline crawler? Well, the crawler is even a little taller. No rhyme unintended. No, it is not. It is 1.5 millimeters. Yeah, that's like 123 and a half. I'll be dogged. That's crazy. So the Tim 10s turn the Canyon Trail taller. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the 465. I think a 4.5, 4.45 to a 4.5 would be optimal on the Portal because you'll still have the ground clearance, but you get to move that CG down a bit because the tire is not as tall. Here's our guy. There has been absolutely no changes made. Nothing. We've changed absolutely nothing in there. We removed the wheels so that we could remove the tires so that we could do what we just did. And the expenditure here would be the $16.99 for the dual stage Tim 10s, provided that they're better than the stock foams. I think they will be, but I genuinely, it is my feeling that it's not going to be a blowout. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the free part, or as close to free as is estimable. We're going to begin by removing the big pins that hold the bumpers in, because approach and departure is really becoming an issue. The rear bumper hangs up a lot. It hangs up a lot. And you'll notice there's a particular point that it hangs up more than any other, because you see that hangs way down. we shall address that. They did change something. The old sport bumpers were not multi-piece like this. They didn't have this mount piece. This whole bumper, also, it has more of a hook. The new Sport has a slightly different front bumper is what I'm getting at. And it also, these mounts used to be like right in the middle of the bumper. So they've actually moved the entire bumper up about the thickness of the pin. It's weird to call a square a pin. The rear bumper, so far as I can tell, is pretty much identical. It's exactly the same. Because I have free mod number 1, which is take the apparatus of your choice. Well, first take a driver or one of these things with a handle. What do we call this? A wrench? Remove the mount and just lop that off. If you're planning on pulling a trailer behind your TRX-4, don't lop that off. If you're not planning on pulling a trailer with your TRX-4, by all means, just lop it off. This is an old sport bumper, and this is a new sport bumper. They're the same thing. This one is going to have much better clearance because we've cut the mount off. Cost to cut the mount off, yes, you estimated it correctly, is $0. I tested to see if I could cut it off entirely with flush cut pliers, the thing that I use to do a lot of work around here. These guys are the same guys I use on the tires. And I just came in from the sides, nipped it, cut it, nipped it, cut it, got to the center, and then there's a peg in the center, right, like a round part of the mold. I just scored it both sides with a razor knife and then turned it, and it popped right off. It didn't leave the cleanest removal, but it is a stock Traxxas bumper mount. I don't think it's not super critical. No one is ever going to see that part of the vehicle. And, you know, bumpers are an easy thing for us to go, ooh, that one's shiny, I'll buy that. Front bumper mount removed. We'll go to the back. We're going to remove the exact same 4 M3x10 screws from the rear bumper mount. And then you might be surprised to find out we're going to remove that as well. Now, if you did that, your chassis would be unsupported. I mean, if you really want to dramatically improve approach and departure and have no regards to appearance, just take your bumpers off. Like, look how deep that bumper is. You will improve your approach angle by a significant number of degrees simply by removing this. We are not going to remove this because we're still sporty. We are going to remove, though, the winch, because the winch is that. Now, we might replace the winch. We will see. We will see. But for right now, we are going to remove the winch. We are going to put this bumper aside and replace it with this one. I had an old one, so I wanted to show you the difference between the two. So we'll be putting this one back on, and I'll just throw this one in a bin appropriately called bumpers. It is really, really quite genuinely easy to improve the departure angle because you take the front bumper mount and you put it on the back. And now you might say, I hear you saying, but now it's going to be way up into the tailgate. Yes, thou art correct. Could you see those frame rails pull together? Yeah. If you want to delete, there's a reason companies like STRC sell bumper deletes. If you want to delete your bumper, put a delete in there. Don't just leave it out in the open, because even Traxxas, offering some of the thickest rails that you can get, you will bend it. You will bend the rail. We put the 4 screws back in, and then we have a tried and true, undefeatable technique, which is we take the body, we put it back down, and we note, and I've noted this before when I was tinkering, aligning the body with the clipless mounts. The bumpers go a great way to facilitate that. So we are removing some small amount of ease of operation. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get the body on because the bumpers won't be placing it. So I'm bending down. So the holes are basically right there. They're right below this cutout. It's not a problem. We're going to take this bumper and we're going to slide it in, making sure that we're not deflecting the plastic in any way. So it is barely, well, it's actually reasonably into the mount. You could, in effect, you could just do that. That is way higher because this mount puts it way down and about the same distance out. But if I'm here to do the dance, then I'm going to do the dance. And we're going to get our blue friend, I don't know why, Milwaukee Blue is where we go. We're going to make sure, again, because the bumper mount, where's the bumper mount? When the bumper mount goes in, there's a tendency for it to try to push the body up. You don't want it to push the body up. So we'll pull it out even a little more. And then we're going to go right like this. We're just going to go right across the top of the bumper because the line of the bumper is effectively straight. Boom, bam, bosh. Then let's go full element status. We'll just get a blue mark at that end. We'll get a blue mark at this end. We'll go a little bit past the bumper line itself. Come down, no problem. We're gonna grab our friends. You know, for a split second, I was like, I wonder if we can cut this without taking the body off. It's clipless. We can just take the body off. We're gonna take our guys. I'll start on this side because I'm right-handed. We're gonna come right in here. We're gonna follow the blue line around. And generally, if you're carefully lucky enough, you can get a clean enough line with the Dubros that you're not going to have to clean it up with a Dremel. At least that's the goal. Ooh, I just had a little notcher there. That got a little out of hand. We're going to come down. If anything, I might have to clean up that corner where the bumper comes in, like that. Now, the only thing I don't like to leave, just me personally, is see how sharp that is? So we're just going to, this is where the curved come in really handy. We're just going to come along here and give it a little radius on the edge. I want to cut that blue off as well. Cleaning it up with a Dremel is probably visible. Then we're going to go from the inside because I'm right-handed, and I am determinedly right-handed. My left hand is good for holding the body, but if I tried to put scissors in my left hand, it would be an absolute catastrophe. So I feel like I'm a little under right here, so we'll take a little bit more off, and now we'll test it to fit. And 8 times out of 13 pops right together. So did we successfully French in the rear bumper? Nope. We need to go just a skosh higher. Remember when I said make sure it's not holding the body up? It was holding the body up. But so that, you know what? We're not mad about it because that just means that we're going to improve that departure angle even more. Now the end width we got pretty good, and now I am going to trace and I'm going to come down the corner of the bumper like that, and you will see where the bumper ends. So where that radius is, I'm just going to make a little mark right like that. I don't want this hanging down. I want that line to come up and meet that corner of the bumper. We'll do the same on the other side, right about there. Then we're going to cut it out. And through the magic of editing, combined with the overconfidence that we got it absolutely right on one try, we're gonna pop this back in because we did indeed clean it up. And the overconfidence was misplaced because as the bumper needs to slide in a bit, now we've got the verticality good, but as the bumper needs to slide in a bit more, we need to come right across. So we'll do right there. Like that height is pretty good. That's gonna tuck right in there real nice just as soon as we remove just the tiniest bit more. And that we will have to resort to the use of the Dremel, because when I pop this off, you'll see why. We need to take off that, and on this side, we need to take off that. Just that amount of blue is all the difference. And now we see if that overconfidence takes him down again. That popped in. I'm gonna push the bumper forward to right about, ooh. My cut line across could be a hair tighter, and that is the bumper in all the way. Like it won't go in any farther than that. So let's actually see now, where can we actually go via the pins? Because I don't think the pins are gonna, they line up all the way in. Good on ya, Traxxas. We have retained the departure look of the Sport by and large. We have used all of the pieces that come with the vehicle, and we have improved. Like, if you don't think, actually no, this is gonna help align the body when dropping it down just as well. Look at the, oh, come on now, right? If you wanted to improve, we'll start on the single stage, because I want to mount the rear pair up so I can see what our departure looks like. Traxxas will have a listed departure angle, and whatever the number they have, oh, it's probably on the box. I bet you it's on the box. It's totally not on the box. It has the approach angle for the front listed at 58.82 degrees. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. This is really long, and it sticks out really far. Maybe it is 58.82 degrees. Our departure now, so we've shortened the rig up by about the size of the bumper, and that's the shackles. That's the shackles hitting. We would get a little better. Yeah, I'm all right with this. Yeah, it's up plenty high. It retains the look. I think it looks better. This is similar to how an enduro bumper is from Element. I have absolutely zero complaints about that, nor would I make any. I don't think that we have within us the ability to get this stock front bumper quite as tight up in. But we do have a frame to start from. Again, it's free, but that doesn't mean you don't have to put in work. The work you need put in is, so we've taken off, look at the grams of weight we're taking off. The work you need to put in is you're going to take your bumper mount. You're going to take your bumper mount, which is this guy right here. This is the rear bumper mount. It mounts in this configuration. We don't want that. We want to maximize and optimize approach angle. So we're going to flip this over. The problem with flipping it over is the front of the frame rail has got a little kick in it right as soon as it starts. It immediately goes into a kick. So if I turn this upside down and try to one-handedly insert it in there, it's going to hit the kick, and then after it gets past that, it's going to hit the fenders. And in the terms of this, the Sport, the clipless Sport, the fenders are holding your body on and your battery on. So we need to keep these fenders. I don't want to trim the fenders. It's much easier to trim the mount. I need a pen that marks in a color. And by color, I obviously mean silver. We take our silver Sharpie. You can see upon this device 2 holes. What I want you to do, and in between the 2 holes, roughly centered between them, is this corner of the triangle. We're going to make a mark right down like that. Roughly, that got real sideways. Roughly right between the 2 holes, maybe a little further forward. It doesn't really matter. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a cutoff wheel, you're going to take snips, you're going to take whatever you like, and you're going to make a vertical cut down like that, And then where this lip comes over the top, you're going to remove that. So basically, let's just color it in. You are going to remove the silver part. You want to cut that silver part off in one way or another. I use the Dremel makes cutoff wheels specifically for plastic. They work really great. And then what you're going to have is this. You're going to cut straight down and you're going to cut across like that. Then when you go in with this bumper mount upside down, it just pops right in. Slides right into the vehicle. Might be a little rough depending on how high or low you cut when you came down here on the silver. You really want to get to where just the vertical piece is remaining, none of the flat part on the top. And if there's any little burrs on that, it might hang up a little when it goes in. But it mounts exactly like it did before. Now it's upside down. We've trimmed it so that it will fit. And as you can tell, this is going to move the front bumper up quite a lot. Now, it's also going to make it so that the bumper can't quite slide in as far. You will see, though, that isn't really... That's not a prime problem for us in this scenario. Let's get that guy out of the way. Clip the body back down so that you can see. Oh yeah, it's easier to get the body on now with our newly Frenched bumper. So in the front, there it is. It's now, as you can see, right about the same elevation that the rear was. So if we loose fit this and try not to push the body up with the bumper, we can get in pretty close. The only spot where we're impeding is right across the grill. So realistically, we don't need to go, because we can only go in a hair farther. We can go in that much farther. So the bumper mount itself doesn't actually go into the body at all. So we see we're getting a little mental picture here of how that front bumper is going to sit. And it sticks out. It still sticks out, but now the bumper is so much higher that it's going to improve that angle. We can indeed run the winch. We could modify the bumper additionally to get it to sit in even farther. Honestly, I would just leave it uncut if I wasn't quite sure that it would make the clipless really difficult to put on and take off. So we get trusty blue again, and really, I don't even really need to mark it. I don't even need to mark it. This could be done purely with a Dremel. I'm gonna try to eyeball it with scissors. I'm gonna become overconfident in my ability to guesstimate. And we've got this little sub grill right here in the middle, this little grill, which they already had to notch out. We are just gonna follow this line right here. We're gonna come up across the top of there. We're going to go straight across, as straight as we can. Right to about, okay, we're going to, don't worry. We got a Dremel. We're going to clean that up. Same thing, going to come across right here. And now, I'm not even going to fake it. That's ugly. So I'm just going to Dremel that. Because what I want to be able to do is push that bump, and like it doesn't even, like, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't even look weird. Also, cutting it like this gives you the opportunity to shop around for those Amazon bumpers, find a bumper about that wide, and just mask the hole with it. But that's an expenditure, and that expenditure is up to you. It lines up so easy now. So the fundamental issue here is the bumper. That bumper is so deep. We're going to run with it. I thought the body was going to interfere too much with the winch. We could leave the winch on, I think. Ooh, we're just okay. You know what? If a hole lines up on the bumper pin with that right there, you know what? I'm kind of fine with that. Would I consider trimming it out a little pre-runner style up like that? Maybe. For now, so long as the pin, it looks like it's sticking out so far to me. So long as a pin lines up and we can mount the bumper easily, we're gonna grip it and we're gonna ship it. We do have to go with the pin from the bottom because the bumper mount is upside down. This is indeed at the maximum all the way in hole. The bumper does not go in any further than that. We get to where it actually starts to bend. That's as far in as the bumper can go. The only thing that is an impediment now between us and going and testing our new approach, departure, and inserts is, will the front clip down or will it fight us? So we'll start in the rear because we know that works, and then the front. Okay, it's a little snuggety buggety, and I see what, but did we just incidentally cure the clank? It doesn't. Okay, the hood is not under pressure. It's not. Oh, but the body feels. We definitely took that. I'm leaving it. We're gonna go without the winch too because I already put the body on, and I don't want to take it off again right now. The winch will go back on, I think, because where is that guy? I don't think it's going to interfere with the body at all. No, the winch can go right back on. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. It is, to me, surprising how good that fit line is across the front, even with it raised up. Now, I don't know. Is that tan bugging me? It might be bugging me, but it's not bugging me enough for me to address it urgently. We will go out and run about, and then we will address that afterwards. So there it is. That's $0. Now, to me, it looks like it's sitting at about that 58.82 degrees now. I don't know. I couldn't give you. We need our guy. We need our guy. Good old blue bag. The blue bag gets the dual stages and pit gun. He'll go out with us. That looks like the approach angle. Gotta get that stiction out. That looks like the angle that they're talking about stock. Although, yeah. And I mean, well, okay. This is, bear with me, wildly unscientific. Because I think that they just put how do they do it? They probably put something on like that, and that's how they test it. So let's go unscientific. Zero that out via the roof. Yeah, we're at 54. And we just raised the bumper like 1.25 inches. So I think okay, follow me here. I think that this is his battery. Talk about perfect timing, if you would. I think they measure from like the center of the tire. I'm pointing where you can't see. I think they're measuring from like there up across the bottom of the bumper. I want to see what the actual numbers are, and this looks better. Does it look better if it had a smaller bumper that was tucked in more? Yeah, but we're not spending that kind of money at this time. Maybe at some point in the future. I also have not arrived at a decision, though I do have multiple sets of rock sliders. Do I want to cut the slider off so they're not getting stuck out on this thing? I also haven't decided on that either. Let's zero this again. Let's see what we're looking at. 50 degrees on the departure. So 54, it was almost, let's call it 55 approach, 50 departure. Pretty good. And again, in terms of the running stuff, we have still made no changes. We've got wheel tire insert, hopefully better than we did before. The front bumper, I am happy with. It just looks better to me up higher, but it's so big. Like, look at the amount of space between the winch and the grill. And that bumper is all the way in. We can't get it any more in or any higher. That's where we are. The rear, I am really happy with. That's great. That's great. Would there be a temptation in me to take it to the sander, hit it on the sander to take the nibs, the little mounts for the shackles off and remove the shackles? I wouldn't be opposed. I'm not a red accessory guy, so it wouldn't bother me to get rid of those. Also, at some point, I don't know what installment it will occur in, but one day you'll see this guy come out and I will have put masking tape down and painted his bed black. Just because it's so much tan. It's like a wall of flesh. So I would not be opposed to that being black. This is the configuration that he is going to run in now, and for today, we're going to do our dual tire test. Dual insert test on a singular tire, and we're going to see, is it worth the $17, or did Traxxas do something to just make the single stage? Now, obviously, if you're driving in the crick, you're going to want some other insert. You're going to want a dual stage. You're going to want a silicone, a 3D printer. You're going to want something. You're going to have to spend between $13 and infinity amount of dollars. We're just looking at what kind of performance we can get out of with what came with it. So let's do that. That bumper still looks super weird to me. It sticks, especially with the let me get that camera angle on there, especially with the winch not screwed in. We're gonna have to allocate some of the budget for a bumper, because that rear bumper looks amazing and that front bumper looks like he's got a huge underbite. And it's really resting with me. The solid tanness of the bed as well. If we're gonna go down the alley of very small complaints, you can't turn it on once you've put the body on, because body clips in pretty well. You can kind of bend it up, but good thing it's clipless, so it doesn't take long to take the body off. But there's really no mechanism to turn the thing on and off while the body's on. Got to get my trigger finger. Yeah, that's just better. It's just better. So we are moving back in the right direction in terms of the insert for sure, and I'm not mad about it. Stock foam absolutely doing the thing here. We get some little hesitations there. There is an advantage. There's more than one advantage to the included, what in the hand appears to be very robust stock foam. Advantage one, of course, being complimentary with purchase. If you buy the vehicle, they give you the foams. They don't have to be great. I desperately hope the microphone is picking that up. So I live relatively close to a complex, an elementary school and a middle school. There is some kind of event going on, I have to assume, because it is, it's probably a Halloween thing. It's probably a Halloween thing. There is blood-curdling screaming coming from what I hope is the elementary school. If you get middle schoolers into screaming of that level, it might be like a Michael Myers Halloween thing. So the foam is an improvement over. There was just too much weight. The power system couldn't handle the whole weight of the AMK silicones. I think the AMC silicones all around will be better. We saw that tumble over where it fell over. That's the foam. The foam acts too firm. But in the spirit of other advantages, not just being complementary with purchase, the foam will break down. So the foam will wear in much like a tire, and you will get an increase in performance from them, followed at an indeterminate period of time by a fall off in that performance. Yeah, it is just managing the weight a lot better. Yeah, we were going proper slow through there. That's definitely an improvement. What we do in the spirit of the tire testival is we hit our 3 locations, we swap tires, and we do it again. Little bit of, I'm going slow. I think with a bit more throttle input, we could probably muscle that through. That right there, that little cut, that's what I'm looking for. The silicone couldn't do that because of the weight. We were just getting that slide where it just pushed across. Isn't it better to, and also, we've slowed down the rollback a little bit because they don't have to hold as much mass. This might be kind of a figuratively and literally happy medium. We're kind of in between the weight of the stock setup and the overly heavy silicone setup. Yeah, that's really nice. On a single stage, that's really nice. Caught it. That front bumper, I don't like the look of it. It looks like a mustache or an underbite and a mustache, and it makes some noises. Like I think it's out too far for the amount of support that it has. Now I'm just looking for that front end to stay behaved. Now we've got a bit better breakover as well because they're acting a little firmer. Well, they're acting a lot firmer. I don't think it's bumper, I think it's axle. Let's see if we can, okay, we'll allow him to reset there. Come back around here. Yeah, as much as there was the feeling of driving heavier, it definitely feels like it's driving lighter now. Still not quite, you know, it's that last couple percent always. Now, Frenching that rear bumper in is an outright success. We would have the rear bumper stuck right there. Can we do the power shuttle? We go right there, and we try to cut back right there. Yes, but no, simultaneously. It's not enough compliance in the front. I think you could devote a relatively significant amount of time, and you could wear these inserts in to where they would start to get pretty good. Let's see, can we get it? Can we get any of it? Can we get any of it? It wants to come back, and then the CG just overwhelms it. We had an advantage with the heavier insert, the lower weight, but not the weight the way we wanted it. It's not difficult to add brass to a TRX-4. That is part of the reason why we're here, because it's so cheap. Oh, it's so cheap. Knuckle weights starting around, I want to say $13 or $14 for knuckle weights, going up to I'd say probably around $40, depending on what brand you're looking at. I just look for the heaviest ones, and I'm browsing for them already because I can tell we're going to take some front end weight off because we're going to do something about that bumper. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We're definitely going to get rid of that bumper. Just for the cosmetics of it. If that turns out to be an investment that's wholly cosmetic, so be it. Yeah, we can't take either cut on this foam. Well, we can, but we also can't. The drive is surprisingly good on those gray foams. So I'm genuinely surprised by the performance of them, but they are still single stage, so they're going to give you more forward drive. I'm surprised by them because in the hand they do not feel good. They definitely feel better on the rock, but you can get to that point where you feel the performance fall off relatively quickly. So now I'm hopeful for the dual stage, but I also want to see what this does on the side hill. Are they firm enough to just keep it in shape? Single stage on a side hill have to strike a really fine balance. They need to be, I mean, so clearly they can hold the weight without folding it over, because we only have two wheels touching the ground right now. That rear is definitely off the ground. A little settle. Yeah. But they need to be compliant enough to where they don't just retain full rigidity. Very slowly, a little more. Okay. That's a good slide on the A. Yeah, it's really unpredictable. Can we make it back? Can we make it back? Yee. We're going to wheels, and I am continually forgetting and then being reminded of our speed, just our sheer speed, and we've geared it down quite, basically a drop of 5 pinion teeth is roughly where we're at, and it's still really, really brisk. Yeah, I would like to drop, I'd like to be on a 12, I think. That rear bumper looks great though. If we have no other takeaway from today, it's that rear bumper looks great, and that doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, we have no entry, and it absolutely barrel rolls. So the low weight is enough to make it a little better, but it's not enough to really counter the higher weight. There's a lot of plastic under there. And we either have to counter it or we have to remove it. And our goal is not to remove it. I think that difference in profile is even more noticeable when they're mounted. Like they're very rounded off on the shoulder. They look a lot more like what a crawler would look like. Probably crawlers tend to have a little lean over in the shoulder. A swamper. Hopefully we don't get into any of the problems endemic to that type of tire. That felt mostly the same. Let's see across here. I'm trying to think of, like, what's the differential in how it falls? That was better. That was better. Yeah. Okay. We came across the top over here and we fell. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, all right. Maybe it doesn't show it, but that was a lot better right there. I felt more in control. Okay, we go down blind side back here. Nice, controlled it. And I made an effort to stay into the throttle about the same amount I had stayed into the throttle before. We get a little pickup at the front there. It's not surprising. Let's align it. Okay, we're gonna come across. Dual stage kind of fell off right there. I want to come in close to that marker. Maybe not that close. That's pretty close. Now, can we stay on her here? No, can't. And it's not as if the outer is acting too soft. I don't really, let's call it like it is. I'm not noticing, there's certainly not an increase in forward drive that I would call, ooh, it's a little bit better. Not as better as I would have anticipated. So what we're gonna hope is that once we get past forward drive here, we're gonna hope for a bigger improvement in side hill and positionability. That's dual stage stuff right there. Because that inner is so firm, if you get your tires wedged in between rocks, you can flip yourself over a bit easier. It's risky maneuvers, but we do it anyway. Around here, turning circle feels exactly the same, dual stage versus single stage. Right here. That really floated better right there. But we still don't quite have enough to get through on the amount of throttle that I want to provide. There we go. That's better. That's better. Yeah, it's not surprising that the unmodified stock dual stage is better than the foams that come in the tires. What is surprising is it's not wildly better in terms of forward drive, and I don't know if I should be expecting it to be, because we are talking about basically a little bit more compliance from the softness, but it almost kind of cancels out because the outer soft, the white part of the foam is so much thinner. So I think total compliance is down. Like, we're functionally better, but the total, and it's kind of a net sum where we end up in the same place as we started. We can work the side hill to get it to do what we want. This is the line for me. This is where I want to see marked improvement. Okay, forward drive pretty good. Get the C-hub off. Come on, drop it down, drop it down. Okay, pull it back. Pull it back, but not too much. All right, not perfect on the entry, But my want is to be able to reposition it in place. It's not what I want. Get there, now cut me back. You see, not as quick to eject out. It is an improvement. It's not enough of an improvement. The Canyon custom insert exists for a reason. We're gonna end up having to put fridge foam money on this. Or are we? I'm gonna have to go cost-benefit analysis. Canyon customs are great if you're outfitting multiple vehicles. And they're great because you can use them in a multitude of tires. You can pull a set of Canyon customs out of whatever tire they're in, move it to another tire, and they'll work perhaps equally as well, maybe a little bit better. They don't really have this 3D printed inserts and silicone inserts by extension. Both have this issue where they really sing in a particular setup, and then in others, not so good. So do I want to recommend Canyon Customs to somebody imagining that they're operating from a one vehicle mentality? Or do I just want to say, just spend the money on 3D because you know what tire it is. If you can't contact the place that makes the 3D printed inserts and say, yeah, I need inserts for Canyon Trails on a TRX-4 Sport. If they can't make you inserts, but we're going to go through a whole permutation of things. Inserts are something that's going to be changed on this relatively often. And my goal through the entirety of the sport tuning series is to not have you exchange parts. Put a part on and leave the part on there. Inserts are unfortunately very specific to how much weight they're holding up, the size of the tire. We can't do this the way I want to do it. I like the maneuverability, both on its sides, in terms of regular, the profile of it seems more versatile with it a little bit rounded out, and standing a little taller because we basically turned it into a 475. But I want the drive to get through right there. And if we can continue to fail in the exact same way, we trend towards insanity. But there's a part of me that can't get up until I've made it, even if it wasn't pretty. I'm just gonna have to deal, because it's not gonna make it. We're moving half a step forward and half a step back. We're on our third set of inserts, and much like the slipper from that fairy tale of yore, none of them are. Wait, slipper? Porridge? Let's know the porridge analogy, or is it the bed? Let's go with the porridge analogy. None of them are just quite the right temperature. A big part of the reason that we can be here together where we are right now is that historically, failures outnumber successes. That's how we figure out how to adapt, right? Obviously, dual stage are better at this. They're not better enough for what I would want. We might make that transition. It's a soft might. It's a soft might. I'm really getting good at one thing, catching this during the roll. It still spins like a drill bit, which implies that we've got a sprung unsprung that is suboptimal, to be sure. This is the limitation that we have placed upon ourselves voluntarily. Pull a bunch of plastics, change the body, change the fundamentals of the rig, get it to handle. I don't want to do that. I want to tune to what we have. The body, the fenders, the plastics. We're going to retain the cosmetics, but improve the performance. Meanwhile, there's a class 1 guy sitting there watching this going, yeah, okay, all right, fine, okay. It's not like we're trying to whip a hard body around here. Yeah. It's better, but it is, in my estimation, not nearly better enough. If we were not at a point in this evolution going to turn those dual stages into Canyon Customs, I would almost say just run the stock foams. Particularly between our three options, stock foams, AMK silicones, and Tim Tin dual stage, the stock foam are in the lead right now. For A, virtue of being free, and B, doing reasonably well on forward drive, reasonably well at controlling the roll. Not great, but what do you want? What do you want for nothing? We're still getting that rise. Yeah, if we come in from the bottom angle, we can push through there. The thing I'm happiest about coming out of this installment is that rear bumper, man. I'm all about it. That rear bumper looks amazing. We elementized that. That's pretty much how a stock Sendero bumper is. I'm completely happy with that. Less happy. Upside downside. Pro con. That the stock foam, I think, was the one. Like if we're weighting this, the stock foam kind of did the best by virtue of being free. I think of the three, I would put the AMK, I would put the silicones in second place because we had the problems with power delivery and the weight, but in terms of their compliance, they were trying to help the tire. The rest of the stuff that we had combined with the AMKs were not enough to help the tire all the way. So I don't think that the silicone are suited for the direction that I'm going. If we're throwing a power plant in there, yeah, we'll throw the silicones back on. It'll be able to muscle them through. But I don't want to. It is most likely, it's going to end up Canyon Customs. We roll to our wheels almost all the time, at least 90% of the time. It's just, I think that the outer foam is a little overstuffing. So it's acting a little firmer than it actually is, like in terms of being too kinetic, like it's returning energy too much. And we want them to act a little deader, and I think the fridge foam acts a bit dead. So I'm thinking that a part of next installment will be a Canyon Custom on here. It seems fitting. And I want the steer axle to do what I want the steer axle to do. And right now, it's kind of not doing it. It has also gotten to the point where I would rather run no bumper at all than that huge thing. It looks obtrusive, and I think I'm over it. You know what I'm not over? The whole series. I'm having a fantastic time. I hope you're having a fantastic time. I love having you here with us here in the canyon. It's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful morning, and hopefully will stay as a beautiful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one here at the canyon. In between now and then, please one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon with our I've just been calling him a little tan man. I don't know what, he's probably going to end up with a name like Kevin or Scott or Frank or something like that. I feel like that's what's going to happen. He's going to fall into a name that suits his personality. See if we can come across here for a departing shot. Yeah, all right. Come on back. See what we got next, everybody. You're not doing Kevin. Did he just get named Kevin? Kevin doesn't want to do it. Kevin and I, here he goes. We'll see you next time.